This is Boxing Chit Chat. This is Ben, and I've got Shakan Peters on with me. How you doing, mate? You okay?
Yeah, mate, all good, man. How about yourself?
Yeah, great, mate. Good to have you on. Thanks for your time.
No
Um,
problem.
just want to ask a few questions and know your opinion on a few things. So, obviously, you won the WBC international title in your last fight.
Yeah.
Um, where do you see that taking your career, and how do you assess your performance in that fight?
Um, Performance-wise, obviously, Reece a good kid. He's got a good telling record. I could have done things better. Probably got caught up in a fight at times, more than I needed to be. But every fight's different. There's times where you're gonna have to just bite down on the gum shield and go with your opponent. But in regard to the bout, obviously, hopefully, it's going to elevate me out now to improve my world ranking and push on. With a lot more international fights, and you know, we'll see. We spoke. I spoke tennis in myself, and that's the direction we want to obviously push on for me. And for me as a fighter, I'll always want to push on in my career as well.
Yeah. When are you looking to get out next?
Possibly in April.
Yeah. And obviously, you got the one loss to Craig Richards. He's doing well ever since that. He took Bivol the distance. Is that a fight you'd want to go back to at some point?
It's what it is. You know what? Loads of people ask me about Craig and that now. I'll kind of it's whatever in it. If the fight's gonna happen, it happened further down the line. He done well against Bivol as you just said. I wish him all the best. You know what I mean? I ain't got no problems with him, but he's pushing his direction. I'm pushing in mine. If it happens further down the line, it happens. I've never chased any fighter. I've never called out any fighter, so I'll just continue winning. And I'm sure if you do the same, then that's possibly further down the line it can happen. But if not, it's what it is. I'm just gonna keep going in my direction.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to talk to you about. Obviously, you're promoted by Mick Hennessy on Channel Five. Obviously, if you're a big light heavyweight, is there a possibility you're moving up and fighting Isaac Chamberlain in a big fight at cruiserweight?
Isaac's my stable mate, man. I don't think that would happen. To be fair,
Oh
he's
yeah,
a cool guy. But I've started my career off in. I started as a cruiserweight when I in my first couple of fights, so I can make the weight, but I just wasn't a big cruiserweight at the time. But I can jump back up now, and definitely make the weight if I wish to. But right now, I'm comfortably making light heavyweight, so I believe we'll continue to campaign at that weight.
yeah. And there's some
Yeah,
good fights to be made in Britain as well. It's a good division, isn't it? Obviously,
yeah.
the recent British champion, Danny Hayes, he's just won the title. Do you fancy having a fight with him and getting your old title back?
So I'm saying it's the key words old and it have to make sense for me. If I'm gonna fight someone, like don't be wrong, listen, we all should be fighting each other now. In that ranking the stage, you know what I mean? The fans obviously want to see me as a fighter. I want to carry on pushing on, testing myself, and see where I'm at. But it's has to make sense to me. I'll have to know that okay, if I'm having that fight, then this is what's at the end of the table for me. It's got to make sense for me. I want to push on from all that. To be fair, because
Yeah,
as you said, I've had those titles. I've had all the major domestic, British titles and that, like the English to the British and so on. So for me, I want to push on to the other major titles. But for me,
yeah.
it has to make sense for my career.
Obviously, you're saying you want to move on and push on internationally. Would you consider going over to America and maybe having a fight there?
Yeah, 100%. Again, long as it makes sense, if someone with either a bout or a higher world ranking than me or someone, it's all about for me elevating. I don't want to be, just a number in the British scene or a number in any scene. I'd want to be pushing on to better myself and my career. It comes to a point where you have to think about yourself in boxing as well. We all want to like I'll fight anyone as long as it's got I know what's at the end of me you know with that risk I've got to have a reward, so that's where I'm at with my career and things.
Yeah, definitely. How do you rate the division as a whole? And do you think BTRBF and Bivol will ever fight each other?
I'm not sure. I know they've had talks before. I'm not sure. I'm not, I'm not. They're both world champions. I'm not a world champion myself, so I'm not really focused on that. As a fan, I'd like it to happen. It'd be good for the division. It'd be good for boxing, but who knows what's going to happen with themselves? I know. Batavia was talking about what's his name, fighting Joe Smith. So that's
Yeah.
possibly more closer than a Bivol fight. But look, I rate all these guys highly. These world champions are good. They're world champions for a reason. And hopefully I'll get one. I'll push on and get one of those bouts myself going forward. That's where I want to be. I want to obviously get a world title.
Yeah, definitely that's the end goal, innit? Everyone wants to.
That's it.
Yeah.
100%,
Obviously,
man.
um, just going back to your career a little bit. How did you find the format in the Boxer series when you went on and won it? Did you enjoy it, or what was it like for you?
Yeah, it was, it's crazy. It's very enjoyable. I kind of half didn't want it to end. You know what I mean? So soon, I was enjoying myself. I was having fun. My fans and family and everything came out there. It was my first fight in London, and obviously London again is another big boxing city, just like Liverpool and other places, and Manchester. But being there in London, like they showed me a lot of love, and I respect them as the fighters and as fans. So it was good to be there. The format was good. It was a different format, fighting obviously three times in one night, but it's one that we prepared well for and got the job done. I always believed that I would have got the job done, but it's just like how would you get the job done? But honestly, I just enjoyed it, man. I put no pressure on myself. I enjoyed it. All the other, props to all the fighters who was involved as well. And yeah, I just had fun with it. It was good to it elevated my platform. To be fair, that's where I started. That's where I got my name out. That's where I was in a lot of these big articles, like the World Boxing News and all these other big news articles, and it got my name out there. So it done me good. To be fair.
How did you find it on the night? Because obviously you have a fight and then you have like a bit of a break in between. Did you find was you like cooling down a bit, and how was you getting back up for the next fight?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was like because it was three fights in one night. Obviously, you're focusing on one fight. I kind of made sure like I won round one and two big. Kind of you'd notice in a lot of my fight, in a lot of probably all of them, round three I kind of took my foot off the gas a bit,
Yeah,
knowing that not to lose big or win the round big or whatever, but knowing that I had another round to prepare for another fight as well. So you only had a certain time limit, and the time limit got smaller the further on you went on the competition. But it was great, man. Obviously, I think it was like my second fight on TV or whatever. But it was good exposure for my career. It was a way different format. The energy from the crowd was good, and it brought a good buzz in the arena, which obviously kind of channeled down to us fighters and myself. So I thrived off it. To be fair,
yeah. It was a good.
mm,
I enjoy watching it. To be honest, it's exciting, isn't it? Because you never know we different styles on the night and
mm.
different. It's you have to get it done in them 3 rounds, so it is good to watch.
And this is the thing, man. Or I think we've had four out of three side fighters in there. No, sorry. Every time us East Side fighters have been in there, we've won it. You had Drew, you had myself, you had Corey Gibbs recently as well.
Yeah,
Every East Side fighter who's entered this competition, they've won it. So I don't know if it's something, man, with the training, how the trainers and everyone, if they just, adjust to the format real well. But yeah, we've won it. So that's something there, little hint to put your money on for the next Seaside fighter.
yeah. He's a talented fighter. Now you mention it, Corey Gibbs. I
Yeah.
seen him up in Liverpool before his fight at I think it was the weigh-in. He looks good.
Yeah.
How do you rate his career going forward?
Yeah, good man. I mean, he's he's got a brother as well called Tian. They've got a big reputation in Birmingham for being talented just through the amateur scene. He's beat some good names in the amateur scene, and I think he just someone like a Corey Gibbs just needed that to elevate his career and get his name out there. And a lot of people are raving about him. He's just signed with Boxer as well, which is good for him. And he'll be involved in some big fights. He's on the Josh Taylor and Jack Catterall on the card in Scotland,
Yeah,
is it? So yeah, he'll get his name out there. He's very skillful, Corey. He's in the gym working out all the time. Him and his brother. His brother will be not long to his brother's there as well. He's a Midlands champion down there at the moment, and that was on his first fight back in like about I don't know 3 4 years. He jumped in the 10 rounder against a good kid and got the win. So yeah, they're very talented brothers. They've always been talented. So it's just them getting out there on the right platform, and he's got the right backing now, and people will start hearing about him a lot more.
Yeah, obviously there's quite a few talented fighters around that area. You've obviously had Frankie Gavin, there's Sam
Yeah.
Eglinton, people like that. They're the type of fighters you look up to and like that you want to be like in the future.
Yeah, like obviously we all thrive off each other in our gym. You mentioned those names. There's also another a boxer in our gym called Casey Benjamin. He's a great talent as well. And there's a lot of good Birmingham boxers coming through. Even on the smaller scene, I've been to a few, and they're coming through. So it's good that there's a lot of talent coming out of Birmingham. But yeah, definitely Sam Eggert, and props to him. He's won countless titles as well. And his trophy cabinet's looking very healthy. So I want
Yeah,
mine to look healthy like that as well. And Frankie Gavin, obviously, someone who's the only amateur world champion in Birmingham from Birmingham as well. So good as well. But definitely, our gym's thriving. There's a lot of energy in our gym. If you come in our gym, there's a lot of buzz, and everyone thrives off each other, man. We're all just working hard towards our potential fight dates.
and you get plenty of good sparring up in your gym. Yeah,
I do around Birmingham a bit, but we are at a stage now where, especially, we're venturing out a lot more. And I feel like for me to elevate my game, I need to venture out, possibly even to different countries for sparring. So that's where I'm at with it. We do get decent sparring, but for me, I want to elevate out and do things which I've spoken to my team about, and it's something I'm sure we'll put into action.
yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to the start a little bit. How was your amateur career, and what age did you start getting into the boxing?
So my amateur career, compared to a lot of the boys now who are, up in the ranks and everything, was very moderate. I didn't really have a lot of fights. I only had I think it was about 19. I had 19 amateur fights, one little Birmingham title. But to be fair, no secret, I didn't really take the amateur seriously because I wasn't really a fan of all the medals. And if I thought a bit more level-headed on and thinking, there's a possibility to go further on in the amateur scene, like there's a lot of amateur opportunities now. I wish I was, I wish I was thought like I wish I'd made that way to think like that at that time. But I didn't take it seriously. It was a learning curve for me, and I started at 22 as an amateur, so relatively late. A lot of people are starting at like 14,
Yeah,
13, or been in the gym even before that. But I jumped in the gym at 22. Won a few things, won a few Midlands titles, and things, and competed in the championships, which was the novices, and never really went any further, really. But I made the jump of turning pro with the mindset knowing that, okay, once I have made this jump, then, Shaq, you can't come back to the amateur scene now and do anything. So this is where I just put everything into practice, studied the sport, took it a lot more seriously, and, sacrificed a lot of time, away from my friends and away from family events and other events, and got my head down. And, it's paying off at the moment for me, man. Each year I won a title, and I want to continue to do that. So if the opportunities presents itself for me, then I'm gonna take them both with both hands.
yeah, definitely. And
Mhm.
why did you wait till you was 22 to make the decision? Did you always be a fan of boxing, and how did you come about getting into it at 22?
Yeah, so like my dad, Colin Pitters, he was a pro boxer himself. Um, you know, and it was a thing where my older brothers and my in my family was amateur boxers as well. My brother Anwar was a good amateur. Like he got to the national finals on countless times and things, and was doing well, represented England and things like that. So he was really good as a fighter. Then he ended up kind of packing it in. But I was playing football from a young age. I was at West Brom for a while. So that was my dream, and that's where I wanted to elevate in football. But when I got released from West Brom and the football, I kind of lost the love for it. It never worked out for me. Probably I'm like my second or third attempt when I went to this gym, which was my local gym, not too far in the city centre. That I actually walked in because I didn't walk in the first couple of times. I looked out and I thought, oh, I don't know. But then I walked in, and once I walked in and made a commitment, man, I just made the transition to that sport. My dad as well, to be fair, my dad didn't he didn't want me to box. Yeah, at a young age of probably, I don't know, I come to the gym for training about from the age of 8, 10, just to keep fit for my football and right upward towards my early teenage years. But my dad would never let me box. We was at Small Leaf Gym and he was a coach then, and he'd never let me. Like he'd let me spar, and I done well in sparring a bit. And other coaches there like, "Why don't you let him box?" And he's like, "Nah." He wants me to focus on football, which is, you have to respect the decision at the end of the day. It's my dad. But at this age, at 22, I was able to make my own choice, of course. Like, even if he said no, I was always going to make my own choice. And that's what I done. Took it on myself, made my own choice, took it, and just like got the feel for the ring and the training, and I enjoyed it. I just enjoyed the whole physical competition that you can put someone else in front of you, and then you've got to train for that person, and there's no one to blame but yourself. In football, you can blame the left back or the left winger or anyone else, but in this sport, man, it's all down to you and whatever you do. The clock, we all got 24 hours, we all got 365 days, and you've got to use that time to either study, train, and elevate yourself as a fighter. And that's what I've done.
And what do you most enjoy and least enjoy about boxing and the boxing training side of things?
I think I'm one of those nuts people. I actually enjoy it all. To be honest, generally, I enjoy it all. I enjoy the whole physical challenge. You know, you could you could call me and put me in with someone, as in like for sparring or whatever, and I wouldn't say no to the challenge. Obviously, fights got to make sense, but um, I wouldn't say no to a challenge. But I've always enjoyed pushing myself and pushing my body. So I've been used to training from the age of 6 since football. So it was nothing new to me. Doing any kind of physical activity. So it's all good. I generally enjoy the sport. If I didn't enjoy it, then I wouldn't be where I am now. You have to enjoy this sport. You have to make certain sacrifices. But I know that with this training, it's also improving my health, my lifestyle as a person, and I'm learning every day. That's the brilliant thing about boxing. You're always learning.
What would you say like is a typical day in like a professional or your life as a boxer? What would you do like a routine daily for you?
My life. So wake up, run, or wake up first and go to the gym. Um, then either do strength conditioning or do something else, either like a swim or something else to obviously with my fitness wise. And I'm back home in between those times. I either study boxing or sometimes I don't. I just obviously put on Netflix or something. But I'm always thinking of new ways how to just improve my game, whether it's
Yeah.
watching a fight back or whatever. Just see what little cute things what I could have done, and also watch other fighters, of course, as well. Who I look up to, like good fighters and things like that. Little tricks and things what these world elite fighters would do, what I could probably incorporate into my game. So I'm always trying to study it, in my time, and as well as look obviously focusing on me as a person and seeing where I can go better. I just want to maximize my potential and be the best I can be in this sport.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. What type
Yeah.
of fighters do you like enjoy watching?
What kind of what? Sorry.
What type of fighters do you enjoy watching?
It depends. I'll have my day. So I'll have my day. Probably I'll watch like a throwback fighter. One of my favorite fighters is Thomas Hearns. So,
Yeah.
I could watch like, him versus Duran, or, him versus the Hagglers, like them fights. Or I could then watch like a Floyd Mayweather. I could watch like an up-to-date fight, like a Joshua Usyk or whatever. And I don't know, just like other fights where I feel I'll learn something from, where I could take something from that person's movement or little things what he's done, or things like that. If it's not always reverting back to my fights, because obviously I've got to improve me as a person. I've got to watch certain things that I've done wrong and mistakes I've done to improve on them. But I'm always watching little things like even the Canelo, little things he does. He does a lot of acute things correctly, and that's what a lot of the world level fighters do correctly. The cute little mistakes you probably won't notice, or they'll probably brush up on. So for me, that's what I take, heed and trying to learn and do better in my game and enforce it in there.
Do you like do you obviously like mix them all into your style type of thing? Like so, like certain fighters like Thomas Hearns, Canelo, do you try to take little bits off each fighter if you can and adapt it into your style?
Yeah, 100%. What I'd more do is take little bits and, you'll use it on the bag, you'll use it in sparring, or, you see weaknesses even in your own self, what you could have done better. So you'll take that all into the training while you're on the bag. While you're on the way to the gym, I'll be thinking about what I should be doing movement wise. I'm always kind of playing it over in my head.
Yeah,
And then, like, for example, in sparring, that's where it's my time to use what I've learned to put into practice, rather than trying to put it into practice into a fight. If it's something where it's working, or it's something, it's something where it's working, obviously you're going to use it or whatever. But for me, man, I think it's very important to study and learn sport, not just go in there and go into sparring, just throw punches. Maybe sometimes in the spar, you're going to be more on the ropes, or you're going to be. I'm not trying to use boxing my strengths. Basically, I'm trying to focus on what I could do better and work on them. Whether it's to even go southpaw, whatever it may be. Sometimes anything could happen in a fight. So it's important to adapt a lot of styles and a lot of scenarios in case anything could happen into your fights, into your fighting style.
yeah. Have all bases covered, aren't you, in the fight?
Yeah, 100%, 100%,
Another thing is,
definitely.
just before we go, what fight are you most looking forward to out of the recent schedule that's coming up this year?
The recent schedule, I think, well, the biggest fight right now, obviously, is the all British one, in it, which is Brook and Khan at the moment. But I also like the look of Katie Taylor and the Serrano. That's going to be a decent fight for women's boxing as well. They're both,
Yeah,
decent fighters, and they're both, what I mean, are have got good records and both can hit. So I look forward to seeing that one as well. Um, I'd, from the top of my head, well, also Fury as well. Obviously, you can't. We all like the heavyweights, and we all like the heavyweight fights. So I think whether he's fighting White, I don't know yet, because I've not heard, apart from him saying things. Until things are finalized, you just don't know what's happening in heavyweight boxing. So I definitely look forward to him and White if that happens, and I look forward to Joshua Usyk if that's going to happen. Um, but at the moment, there's so much things floating around. Um, step aside money and this sanction, and there's just too
yeah,
much going on in the heavyweight scene. But we all like to watch heavyweight boxing, and I look forward to any of those fights what can happen as well.
yeah. It's exciting times, isn't it? But it just needs something to be finalised and set in stone, don't we? Get it
Yeah,
made.
that's it. I never believe anything until it's actually finalized. Um, there's always hearsay in boxing, and there's always a lot of stipulation. So until things are finalized, then I believe it. But I look forward to all those fights. They'll be good fights.
Yeah, definitely. What's your prediction on the Khan and Brook fight?
Um, well, it's already happened about 4 years late, I believe. I'm not saying that it ain't gonna be a good fight, but I feel like they're both at their prime and fresh, like about a good 3, 4 years ago when everyone was raving and talking about it. But it has sold a lot. It sold out quick, and it's still going to be an exciting fight. I don't know. Brook now, in a way, has taken a lot of punishment. He's had the eye surgeries on both eyes, which is serious injuries, and these things can change a fighter. Um, there's a lot of grit, there's a lot of animosity in the fight, but I do feel Khan still got that speed and things like that. So I probably do lean more to Khan, but Brook can hit as well, and we've seen Khan go down from a lot of punches taken by a lot of fighters or whatever. So it's all questionable. I'd lean more to Khan, but anything could happen, man.
Yeah, it's a great fight. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
Well, it's
definitely.
been a pleasure talking to you, and hopefully we catch an announcement out of you soon.
Yeah, 100%. Hopefully should be on something soon. Until then, I'm just staying ready and training, but hopefully I should have some fresh announcement for all the fans and everyone soon.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, I'm going to end this interview now, so take it easy, man, and hopefully catch up with you again soon. Thanks a lot.
No problem. I appreciate your time. No problem.
Thanks, mate. See you.